every turkey knows what it's looking to hear, you know. So just real quick, like for a guy like me that I grew up, started on like a box call, but I use a slate right now. I've used glass, and but just take me through like the different styles that you got laid out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And walk us through that.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, this is like this one's a little unique because they would call this a turn trumpet. But the guy who built this, if you can see, it actually it's like hexagonal.
Yeah.
So it was still machined on a lathe like that, but it's just, something unique and different. Most guys just turn a smooth barrel the whole way.
Looks like a chess piece.
When you're showing me that there too, I'm just thinking if I'm, public land, I see a guy walking around with this thing, I'm like, where's this guy?
Well, I do this like I'll drive down through Carlisle and I'm in the car, doing like that, and I know people think what the heck is that dude smoking something? Or, what's he doing? Because I do get a lot of weird looks.
Right.
There's the scratch box. Like I said, they've been around forever. Just basically a striker, and that's your playing surface is that, and then that's what produces the sound. And then, you can move that. Yeah, make it higher or lower. This is just this is basically like a trumpet also. That's a spring buckhorn with buffalo horn mouthpiece.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice,
really unique one right there.
That's a nice piece.
Yeah.
This is what they would consider a tongue call. This is this is the body of the call, and then this is your playing surface.
Now, are all your strikers wood, or do you use different?
No, I have strikers that are actually made from plexiglass. I have strikers that are made from corn cob and have like a jake bone in them.
All right.
I have carbon fiber strikers that have like antler on the end of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have all kinds of strikers.
It goes back. It goes back to like what works,
right?
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I have, not that I'm saying this to be like but I collect so much that like there's times I forget things that I have.
Sure.
Like I try to inventory everything, but then I'll be looking around one day and I'll be like, oh man, I forgot I had that call.
Yeah, listen, I can't. I got a wooden striker and a carbon striker, and I'll lose them in my turkey bag. Like I don't know where I put it.
Yeah.
So like I can only imagine.
Well, like I said, carrying like them wind instruments, that's all you got to carry, really. I mean, I can throw that around my neck.
Yep.
Not go anywhere. Just carry it under my shirt and don't have to worry about,
Well,
not that I don't worry about losing it.
Sure. But it reminds me.
Here, buddy.
It reminds me of like guys that are duck hunters and goose hunters, and they got multiple calls around the neck.
Yep.
And that's sort of what it reminds me of, these air instruments where you're blowing into them.
No, you don't blow on them. Actually, you draw air through them.
You pull it.
Yeah. Yep. It's like I heard a friend of mine say one time it's almost like drinking a milkshake. Like slurping that milkshake through a straw, because we'll go out to eat and Ethan and my daughter, they'll sit down and the first thing they do is they grab them little sturdy straws and they'll sit there and start playing. Yeah. And then, honestly, you can kill a turkey with it, but I'll throw it. Yeah. Bud, come back over here and sit. I'll just do like some basic stuff. And I'm not, I'm just, you know, a lot of people think you gotta really do that. If the call's made good, it don't take much air at all. I mean, you learn to breathe through your nose, draw through your mouth, you know, but they're very unique. I mean, there's something about them.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That, I mean, I had a cabinet made. I think I showed it to you, but I had a cabinet made out of some old barnwood from a guy, and it holds 69 calls. And when I had it done, I wanted it to kind of resemble an outhouse. So we made it real skinny and tall, put like a metal roof on it, and then I had a piece of glass in the front door, and I had a crescent moon etched on it. And of course, I put LEDs in it and everything. So like that whole cabinet is nothing but those air operated calls, and that's just what I can fit in there.
Wow. Display case.
Yeah.
Do you find that you have a hard time with your own personally made calls using? You have all this collection. I know you talked about, you know, tribute to the call maker.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Nah, not really. I mean, I've killed turkeys with that wing bone right there.
All right, that's gotta be
so.
Too.
I use my calls, but I mean, it's one of them things where I like using my other buddies' calls too.
You prefer to use a buddy's call versus
or somebody? Like you know, there's a guy that builds trumpets like that, and the other year, it's actually made out of pink ivory.
Okay.
The wood is pink ivory, but it's
right.
pink. I mean, it's like a bright pink, and they call it a pink ivory. Well, I got it like right before I went to Maryland turkey hunting last year, and I got on these birds. There was 5 gobblers we put to roost that night, and I hit them that morning with the box call, and they responded to it, and they came a ways, but I couldn't finish them off. I felt they were a little too close to getting real loud with that box call, so I just pulled that trumpet out from under my shirt, and I kind of just tucked it down and baffled it a little bit off, and I made like 2 plucks. Now it was like 10, 15 minutes later, but next thing you know, I see them starting to sneak up through the woods, you know, trying to circle around me. Well, the second one didn't make it. So, but of course, you know, when I like to take pictures and find unique spots and things like that. So I ended up throwing the trumpet in the picture and sent it to the guy. And, you know, I think I know they enjoy that type of thing too, because you know, they'll post pictures of it or, you know, things like that. They share it with other people. So
like what I like hearing is it sounds like you guys are a tight niche and you know, building each other up, kind of what you highlighted in the beginning. You know, just trying to highlight each other and
me personally, I mean, I know a lot of deer hunters and things. A lot of people get excited about deer hunting and things like that, but I don't think you'll find a better group of people than turkey hunters, honestly. And I'm not saying there's not bad eggs in the bunch, you know,
there's always outliers.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm friends with a guy. He does a thing on Facebook. It's called Turkey Call to Action, and all it is like, say there was a girl that had cancer, a brain tumor, something like that. Well, they reached out to call makers, donate a call. You know, we're going to raise money for this little girl and help her parents out and things like that. You would not believe the people and the money they were able to help give back to this little girl's family. And, you know, so it's like, that's giving me chills thinking about it, you know, but it's like, where else do you find things like that? You know, just the generosity and the heartfeltness that these people.
I say the pendulum swings both ways, Jason. You know what I mean? Like the good to the bad. Like you said, there's always going to be some bad apples out there.
Yeah.
And like that's just the world we live in.
Oh yeah.
You know, and there's some people out there give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah.
And you know that's great, but what I think we talked about this before we were rolling and recording. You know, like attracts like.
Oh yeah.
And you got. If you're good natured, good heart, I think people that appreciate the outdoors, hunters, huntresses, we're God-fearing people, most of us.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we're most likely, I'll speak for myself, you know, we were raised, we were mentored, we were taught right from wrong.
Yes.
We got some sort of moral compass.
Yep.
And because of that, yeah, you do esteem other people higher than yourself a lot of times.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And that's, you know, that's a beautiful thing about the sport, because even with, you know, we were talking on an episode, I don't know, a few episodes ago, you know, where some people broke into a cabin and they, you know, stole some mounts and some furs and things like that.
Yeah.
You're going to have those type of people in the world, but that's not who I run around with.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not who I swap stories with.
Right.
And I hear you saying the same thing. You know, you got a good group out there that you're networked with.
Yep. Yep.
And
yep.
Yeah, so that's you know, giving back and sharing what you got to share. Like even us asking you to come on and teach us a little bit.
Oh, I
about
was
what
happy.
You know.
I was more than happy when he mentioned about it. I thought, heck yeah, I'd love to do something.
We just need a reason to get together and hang out.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and anything involves turkey calls, I'm all part of. You know?
Right. Yeah, they just just reaching out. Almost whether it's asking for help or just saying, hey, it just goes a long way. But yeah, just over the fall, like I don't want to blow this guy's phone up, but it's getting closer to turkey, and then it started coming around. It's like I gotta text them, and then here we are, and I know our relationship's only going to grow.
Oh yes, yep. Well, that kind of reminds me of a story. Call making friend of mine, when he first started getting into it, he had broken a box call that he had, and he thought, well, I can build one of these. And he said he went to the sportsman show, and he tried talking to a guy about, helping him out, getting him involved in building the box call. And the first guy really didn't want nothing much to do with it. He was like, you'll never make it, blah, blah, blah. And he went to another guy, and they became really good friends. Well, they had a conversation that day, and the call maker, he told him, he said, look, he said, go home, try it out. He said, if you have any questions, give me a call. And my buddy said, man, he goes, I bet he regrets ever telling me that. He said, because I called him every day for like 2 months till I figured, trying to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, I think the turkey call maker community, there's just such a heart they have, I mean, they've done things for Ethan, I remember back when he had like his first or second eye surgery, they were calling me, sending me, hey, I want to send a call to Ethan, blah, 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 because they knew I was into it.
Yeah.
He had already killed a turkey or two. And I'm like, I mean, I was so overwhelmed by it. Like, I felt like I need to do something back for them. It was becoming not too much, but like, I just felt like, I almost felt like I was taking advantage of them people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You just have to reciprocate.
And then the guy, he told me one time, because I was always like, hey, what can I do? I'll pay you for it. I never wanted nothing for free. And the guy told me one time, he said, look, man, he goes, if they want to give that to your son or you, he's like, accept it and let it be. He said, because I think sometimes you might upset them or insult them by them wanting to do that for you. So I just stopped, I tell them thank you, appreciate what you've done. But I've just learned not to, if they want to give them something, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and, let them, that's something they wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It took me a while to realize that was
forward moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people just like speak the language of giving gifts too. Like you like to give gifts.
Oh yeah, he's real well at that. I mean,
yeah.
Even with his sister, he'll go to Speedway with me, and he'd be like, "Dad, we gotta get Sissy something,"
Well, thinking of other people,
But then he complains sometimes to her because she don't pay it back at times.
He wants reciprocation too. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean that's really the heart of what the community piece to this what we're doing.
Yeah.
You said you didn't want when you got into making calls, you didn't want it to be a job.
No.
You want, and that's what we're doing there too, right? Yeah. Yep. Go ahead. I was going to say, that's part of the, what we do here is, we're just trying to make memories,
Yeah.
hang out together, and
Enjoy.
if it ever becomes a job, the podcasting and the recording and the editing and stuff, we'll probably quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as long as we're hanging out with one another, making memories with each other, we're meeting, guys
Different
like you,
people.
like I'm introducing him to people I know. He's bringing in, folks that he knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're learning something too.
Right.
I think I'm a believer that you can learn something from every person you meet.
Oh, absolutely.
You can learn good stuff and you can learn not good stuff too,
Yeah.
But I've learned probably, I say like a lot of the things that I learned by doing the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because then it sticks
a
with
mistake
you.
That,
it sticks with you. Like I'm not going to do that again.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, the networking, camaraderie, the community, that's what we're all about. And we're just trying to document the memories. I was just telling Jason, like, if this ever became like a job, we'd stop doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Just have
absolutely.
fun, just a straight conversation.
No, I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a small town. You get to sit and talk about. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people, but how often do you get to sit and really like talk about what you enjoy doing, or
you have to make time
you're
to do
collecting. It.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like captured what we talk about with our logbook
right
up at camp. Every time we go up to the cabin, we write down what happened, what went on.
Yep.
There's some truth in that, not some truth sometimes.
Yeah.
But we're just almost catching an audio version now. The template. Your kids will be able to look back on it when they get older, and it's going to be out there.
Well, that's why I'm so passionate about getting him. And my daughter, she's killed a turkey, but she got into the cheer, and it's not such a big thing. And it does break my heart that she doesn't want to spend as much time in the woods, but him, he's all about it. I mean, he never
follow your passion.
Yeah, he never complains about going.
Yeah.
I mean, we like to go out looking for mushrooms, and we use that as time to scout for turkey sign and things like that too. So I like being outdoors.
Yeah, can't beat it.
So your expertise, I'm going to pick your brain here a little bit, right? Your expertise on turkeys, a lot of like where we deer hunt is mountainous.
Mm-hmm.
But, from what I understand and what I've been told is you really want to get out into a field. Now, I know that's not always the case, but mountain versus field.
What I'd rather hunt? I prefer to hunt the mountain.
Really?
Yeah. Field birds kick my butt.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes. Now.
So my confidence just increased.
Now the place I have for him.
Yeah.
Well, for both the kids actually, but I used to hunt it years ago. Well, it got sold, and I wasn't sure I was ever going to be able to hunt it again. But when I went back to talk to the new owner, I told him, I said, look, I just want it for my kids. Like I swear to you, I will not hunt that property. I want to do it so my kids can still have a place to hunt. And it's been a productive spot. I mean, it's very productive. And they were like, yeah, absolutely. Your kids are, only your kids. And I'm like, I swear to you, like I will not, you will never see me in there other than, scouting prior to the season. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been fortunate for me that way. Like, so in that instance, field birds, because it's been very productive in the field. But me personally, put me in the mountains all day long. I'd rather go chase them in the hardwoods than in the field.
Love to hear that. Because we're hunting in the mountains.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we see turkey all the time.
Yeah.
Like where we're at, the birds are there. And there's nothing like, I'm in the deer stand and I hear it's like the leaves are on the ground, everything's crunching.
Oh yeah, crispy and cool.
It's like a war path when you get 20, 30 birds coming through.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing nice about fall. If you spend a lot of time in the woods in the fall with turkeys, you hear so much different vocalization from the hens and jakes. You know what I mean? Like I think they're more, the goblin's cool in the springtime and the hen talk, but you get into a flock of fall birds and get them calling back to you. I mean, it don't get no better than that.
Yeah.
Me personally. I mean,
so what about of all the different calls, Do you have a preference? Like if you had one call?
Nah, I
I know
can't.
it's hard.
Yeah, I can't really say that. I can't say that I have one call. Whatever call works that day is what I prefer.
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
You know, if there was
Yeah.
a test.
I mean, there's been times I've tried 2 different pot calls, different surfaces, different strikers, couldn't get a response, and I pick up a scratch box,
Mhm.
you know, and it's like, oh, a little gobble, and I'm like, well, don't answer that, you know. So I just put the pot calls away and go to work with a scratch box.
We just interviewed, you know, another buddy of ours who does a lot of turkey hunting, and we were talking gobblers and hunting turkeys and stuff. And I don't know if this made it to the podcast or if it was just us talking, but he was just saying about, you know, I don't even know the whole story, but this call was like the awfulest call that he thought he was listening to another hunter. He's like, man, that is the awfulest turkey
You ever
sound
heard?
that I ever heard.
And it was
And
a
then,
hen.
and it was a bird.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, and
Yep.
so you just what you think they sound like. It might be different with the next bird. You know, the
Yep.
next bird you kill might be sound a little bit different.
Yep. I think a lot of it, like when you're calling to the turkey, you want to give them kind of what they want to hear, and you want to have realism to it.
Yeah.
You know, cadence. You know, I mean, anybody can go out there and just yelp, 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 yelp on a call. You know, but like I said, my opinion, the less calling I do, the more productive I seem to be.
Yeah.
You know, now I'll play the waiting game. You know, I don't mind waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that bird don't respond to me within a half an hour, I still kind of know he's there, even if he's not gobbling to me. Because most of the time, if he's going away, he's going to gobble eventually.
Sure.
And they'll sneak in on you. You know, I mean that's they're being hunted every day of their lives by some kind of predator usually, so they're always cautious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I know. People say, "Oh yeah, they're dumb." Well, they get lucky and kill a couple turkeys. You know, spend a lot of time in the woods with turkeys. Turkeys ain't dumb.
Yeah, they're scared of everything.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they're scared of everything, and they're going to respond with caution.
Yep, absolutely. Now you get lucky. I mean, there's times I've seen turkeys come running 300 yards across the field, full bore, spear swinging back. You know, and they're committed. Like that's their day to die. You know, like you said earlier, they have it in their mind that that's it.
But once you experience that type of and a lot of guys have done this for a little bit of time. They've had that moment, you know, and it might have been unique to them, but they've had that moment where that bird's coming and he's on a straight line, he's on a rope. I think that shifts something in them.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
You get the bit by the bug.
Yeah.
Now you're really getting into it. I know you've had some success, but you know when it comes to scouting and you know getting guys like Jason on and just talking turkey and everything, you're really starting to embrace this a little bit more. But you know, from like a scouting perspective, like what kind of tips would you give?
I just look for a lot of scratchings. I'm not one to do a lot of calling pre-season. Like I very rarely ever call to turkeys prior to the season, just because I don't like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not me. I'd rather just go listen and let them go about their daily business, and I can pick up enough from that. You know, I look for scratchings. I look for feathers, roost trees. You know, I mean, I'm always eyes on the ground, focusing on tracks and which directions they might be going, what they might be feeding on. You know, there's many things that kind of play a factor in it. But like I said, I'm not one to. For one, I don't like other people knowing I'm in the woods.
Right.
You know, especially when I'm turkey hunting, because there's nothing more frustrating than somebody walking in on you while you're trying to work a turkey. You know, I mean, it happens to everybody, but I'd rather just. I don't like to make a sound until I know I'm in the position that I'm ready to make that sound.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've learned that the hard way. A lot of years of failures. You know, making a call here, moving over here, and he gobbles back down where I just left. You know, within an hour of me moving. You know, so I've learned. I try to take it as slow and progressively slow as I can take it until it's I feel comfortable that I'm ready to call and I'm ready to make my approach to that turkey.
So loaded question here. When you're doing some mountain hunting and you're mobile, you say you call and you wait. If you hear a bird, you'll wait more than half an hour. But how is your approach if you're not hearing birds and you're moving around? You walk a mile and then call, wait a half hour, walk another mile. Do you have a structure? Do you have a plan, or you kind of wing it when you're out?
Yeah, I kind of probably just wing it. I mean, like I was telling you the other day, I try to locate as many turkeys as possible. I mean, that way, if, say I'm in the middle of the mountain and I only have so many acres to hunt there, if I'm not hearing turkeys there, I'll leave that spot and go somewhere else. Just, now if I'm like in a national forest or something like that, I'll just, like you said, just walk a certain distance, maybe give a call or two. I mean, a lot of times you strike birds 10 o'clock after than that, you're going to 9 times out of 10 kill that turkey. You got a better chance, I would say.
Yeah.
Because most of the time the hens have already left them.
Yep.
Like the other day we went up, he had just won a new 22 rifle. And we were at a NWTF banquet actually, and he won a 22 semi. Well, he wanted to shoot it, so we ran up to my parents' house the next day, and we're walking up towards the woods to set the target up. And I'm like, whoa. And he's like, what, Dad, what? I'm like, just be quiet. And the neighbor has a turkey as a pet,
Sure. Okay.
And I'm like, man, I know I'm not hearing that turkey. I know I wasn't. Well, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes go by. I'm like trying to be as quiet as I am, putting the target on. And I tell him, I'm like, all right, you're ready, let one fly so we can get this sighted in. Well, no sooner he shoots, bam, I could hear him take off up in the middle of the mountain. It's like 10:30 in the morning. I looked at my stepdad. I'm like, Dad, that turkey's lucky. Turkey season ain't in. That's it. He probably died today. Yeah. Yeah, there's just something about that. No, I'm not saying it's easy all the time like that, but 9 times out of 10, you run into a turkey. I mean, I've been places where I've walked out through the top of the mountain and have called and didn't get a response, and I come back through an hour or so later, and bam, I strike one. Then it's like, okay, well, was that turkey just playing head games with me, or was like,
how much of it's right place, right time, and what I mean?
I think a lot of it is,
Yeah.
and their mood,
Yeah.
I mean, it took me a long time. Like, I've called the turkeys on the roost. I hear people say, well, I'll call to them on the roost. I want to be the first turkey they hear in the woods. Well, I've done that 9 times out of 10. Them turkeys have gone the other way, So I'm one, I don't really call to them on the roost. I guess in certain situations I would if I know there's no other hens around. But if I got a bunch of hens around, I kind of let them all do their thing. And I want to know which way they're going, or I already know that because of just being in the woods and patterning them. Yeah, I like using the decoys for him. Me personally, I don't like decoys. I've had them spooked too many times, especially in the woods. I mean, I can count on my hand the times that I've had it not work compared to working. You know what I mean? I've had better luck without them in the mountain than I have with them. And then there ain't nothing like seeing a gobbler coming through a open hardwood forest and 75 yards away, he sees your decoy and he runs the other way. It's like,
like,
man,
Gotta be frustrated.
if I would have never put it out,
That's what we do. Like I think you said earlier, like we're our own hardest critics.
Oh yeah.
Second guess everything. Like when things don't go according to plan, we second guess everything that we did.
Especially when it comes to me, turkey hunting.
Play that what if game. What if I did this or what if I did that?
But like I said, with decoys, I like them for him because it keeps the bird. It kind of gives the bird something to focus on, so that he can be more focused on what he does.
Yeah.
That's
good.
Yeah.